Hi guys, welcome back to Treasures by Trees. And so today I am joined by this beautiful woman that I love so very much, my friend. And so I am going to allow her to introduce herself.
Hi, I'm Nicole Gills. I've met Treese at a former job. That's originally how we met. I originally met Treese and liked Treese because of her style. That's how we connected. Clothes, hair, shoes. That's how we connected. We always talked about clothes. We shopping girls. So that's how we originally connected. But I realized she was much more than a pretty face. And that's what I liked about her more. She was a real person. And those are hard to come by. But that is how we met. I am going to myself be starting a radio podcast soon called Etc. 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 I'll give Treese the details. And we're going to be talking about a lot of relationship issues, women issues, just issues dealing on in the world and what's going on right now. Absolutely. So I'm excited for that. But I'm also excited that she invited me out because we always have good conversations. So this should be fun.
Yay! I'm so excited. So we're so happy to welcome Nicole to the podcast world. And guys, everything is going to be in the bio. I'm so excited. And she's so right. We are fellow shoppers, as we call it, retail therapy. We love to shop. And so she always would dress, oh my God, I'd be like, Cole, where did those pants come from? Where did those jeans? So, every day at work, we would be like, where you get that?
We're always asking each other. That shirt, that blouse, where'd it come from?
I know. And so for shoppers, it's retail therapy. This is what we do. And so we love to go. It's not so much that we need stuff.
No. Lord, no.
And so most of our closets are flooded, but it's therapy reasons. And so I am so glad that you're here.
Me too.
Oh my God. And so Cole is definitely a great person, and we connected, obviously, we on the outside, and we did spend some time together and get to know each other. And so grown women. So this conversation is going to be grown, right? We're going to talk about grown women stuff, right? And so just so elated. And so guys, as I said, always remember to subscribe when you go on. You guys are watching, and some of you are still forgetting to click the red button. And so I need you guys to subscribe. And so we definitely won't hold up time. We have a hot topic, a great segment today. We're going to be talking about what does submission really mean. Oh my God, Cole, this is something. You guys know I was married for 14 years, and this beautiful woman here is married.
Yes.
And so we
hanging on.
Yes, by the grace of God, Lord.
That's it.
And so submission, we're gonna get into it. We're gonna talk about it. And so I'll say this: the Bible says in Ephesians 5:22, wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands as unto the Lord. The Bible says own. There is not a word in scripture that Jesus put in there that don't mean anything. If he says submit to your own husband, it means not to Lucy husband, not to Jane husband. Yeah, it means your own. So ladies, if you're submitting to somebody else's husband, you might want to stop, because somebody's going to be submitting to yours.
In that order.
Mic drop. Hey. And so, yes, and so I'm not dating anybody that's married. I am a Christian, and nor do I want anybody else's husband, because I know what the Bible says. The Bible says we're going to reap what we sow.
Absolutely.
And so,
absolutely.
Yeah, we're going to talk about this.
And I think something to be said about that. I'm big on foundation. How you start something. So something to be said about what Contrice just said. If you're submitting to another person's husband, wouldn't that foundation be a little shaky?
Yeah, it's going to be on sand.
So an unshaky foundation, if we were building a house, would crumble.
The wind's going to cause it to blow away.
So just keep that in mind.
Yeah, that's
food for thought.
Yeah, biblical food for thought, because we know your foundation has to be solid.
Yes.
And so when we know how they say they take these husbands from their wife. Are they really taking them, Cole?
No. At all.
It's a price that comes with that.
Absolutely.
And so just be mindful. As you guys know, my disclosure is my opinions, my dramas. When I was 21, I walk in honesty and transparency. I dated a married man. it didn't take me very long to figure out that this was not what it was. And so just young, dumb, and making bad choices. And
Right.
it didn't take, I don't think it took me 2 months. I was like something was nasty about it in my spirit.
And then if you're a type of woman, and I think we all been there, and if we're going to be totally honest, I've been there too, where I talked to somebody that was married very short period of time, because I don't like to come second.
Right.
So I realized this ain't gonna work for me.
Nah, because we like,
I like to be first.
yeah,
we all this, oh, I ain't got time and I can't.
nah, we not options.
As soon as it started, it was over.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So,
So,
you know, in your 20s,
and you gotta keep that in mind. Holidays, he with his family.
he with his wife.
You're gonna come second, third, fourth,
Yeah, because he's
if you come around at all.
yeah, because
depending on
he's
the schedule.
probably got another one of you stuck
Exactly.
somewhere.
So yeah, Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you have to think about that
You have
stuff.
to really think about it.
And we're talking in our 20s.
Right.
Like you make these mistakes when you're in your 20s,
Right.
but at 45, if I'm sleeping with somebody's husband, shame on
Right.
Patrice.
I really know better. I
Yeah.
really know better.
Exactly.
I've have experiences now with world, so I really know better by a certain age. Absolutely.
Absolutely, yeah, you're right. And so our first talking point, what is submission and how do we do submission? I'm gonna let Nicole, she has the husband,
Yeah.
talk about this. I'm gonna let her hit this.
What is submission? I look up the definition, and it said the action of yielding or accepting superior force. So when you think about it in a marriage, I, as a wife, would have to yield or accept superior force from my husband. In other words, letting him be the head of the household, letting him be the anchor to this house. For me personally, submission was very hard at first. It's still hard. I admit that now. It's still hard. And I think this goes into being an independent woman.
Yeah.
I was raised that way by my mom. I sometimes now look at the good and the bad side of that, because I'm learning how to, you don't have to be in control of everything.
Right.
And you need to learn to let go some of this control. And a pastor told me this in marriage counseling. And I've always remembered that. Pastor Caraway out of Tyler, Texas. He's a really good pastor.
I went to that
Oh,
church.
he's so awesome. I love that man. I miss the church a lot.
Yeah.
But he taught me a lot about just how to approach marriage. He also said, do you want to be right or do you want to be happy? I never forgot that.
Whoop! Words to live by.
And I'm a person that do like to be right. So when I heard that just made me shiver in my soul, because I was like, that's it. He said it. Do you want to be right or do you want to be happy? We know as women, all of us can look in the mirror and ask ourselves that question. So never forget, do you want to be right or do you want to be happy? So in a marriage, keep that in the back of your mind. It's still going to be tough. It's still going to be challenges. But being submissive, I'm learning, because like I said, I wasn't always good at it. I've gotten better over time with age and experience. But I'm learning too, it's okay to let go of the control. If you got a man, let him be a man. And it's okay. And I think we've been kind of conditioned to, I can do it. I can do it myself. I can do it myself. And then we complain that we don't have men. And then when you are blessed and you found one that wants to be the head of the household and wants to lead, you're not letting them lead.
Right.
So to me, submission has a lot to do with that. Allowing the man to be the head, allowing him to lead. We will say that we want him to do certain things, but I'm learning that we won't allow them to do it. Then you complain that he's not doing it. But how can he do it if it ain't being allowed?
My God.
So
Oh, my goodness.
I think that's a good way to summarize it.
Profound. I swear. Do you
Yeah.
want to be right or do you want to be happy?
Pastor Caraway, Tyler,
Oh
Texas.
my
I
God.
never forgot that.
My
I
God.
carry that with me every day.
That is profound.
That's a word.
That ain't
That's a
nothing
word.
but a word.
Mhm.
Oh my goodness.
Mhm.
We cannot emasculate these men.
That's a big part of it too.
Yeah.
And I believe we've been taught to in a way. And we've been ignorant. We haven't really paid attention to it until now. We see a problem with African American women getting married. Our percentage-wise is very low on the marriage scale. Our other counterparts, they value marriage. And I think they understand it in a different concept than we do.
Mhm.
And then we've been taught what is it is to be a wife. Do you really know? I mean, have you really looked it up? Have you really lived it yet? Have you really talked to somebody that experienced it? Look it up. It's way more than putting MRS on your paperwork.
Right.
I don't believe in titles anyway. That's never impressed me.
No.
And I know a lot of women will date just to get to that title. Let me tell you, it's way more to it besides that. It's way more that you have to compromise on, that you have to be willing to look at differently, that you're going to have to be willing to bite your tongue at times. Not saying be a pushover. That's not what I'm saying. But it is a time and a place. And you should never be in a place publicly where you're embarrassing your man. Yeah. And women, you know what I mean when I say that. You're being too loud. You're doing too much. That's embarrassing him.
Right. Absolutely.
That's not being submissive.
Or classy.
Or classy.
Right.
Is that something he's going to be proud to say, this is my woman?
Right.
To show to friends and family? Yeah. Probably not. Probably not.
Nope. Just, my God, Cole. I say this is a wife. Okay, I'm an ex-wife, right?
Listen, it take a lot of mess ups and mistakes to get to this point. Wow.
And so I'm going to speak from, my perspective when I was married. And so when I think of submission, I think of the Bible. I think of surrendering myself to God first. And so then to my mate and then to others. It is, for me, it's being intentional to submit to something bigger than myself. So I got married at 28. I did not know how to be a submissive wife, nor did I know how to be a wife, period. And so for me, it was a lot of trial and error, making mistakes and trying to learn how to submit, learn how to be a good wife to this man. And my ex-husband was he is a man's man, and he has this strong personality. And then you meet this woman with this strong personality.
Doing that.
Yeah, so you got two bulls coming at, coming.
And that doesn't work.
Yeah, it doesn't work. That's why I'm divorced. I'm not glorying in divorce, but I'm just saying two bulls can't. Nope. They will not survive. We survived 14 years because I was submissive. We survived 14 years because I wanted to keep my marriage. Wow. I endured some very horrible situations because I was raised, you fight for your marriage.
And you do.
You stay.
And you should. Yeah. And you should.
And I stayed as long as I could.
Right.
And so the Bible talks about submit to your husbands. However, we know that we submit to ourselves. We submit ourselves to other things in most cases. It could be our job, our hobbies, even our money. Because a lot of people submit to their money. We have, people that they so focus on chasing the bag that they, hey, right now I'm about the money, nothing else. Just, they in this little space. And so you submitted to that. And so the idea is to never put anything before God. When I was married, I struggled with this because I was independent. And, through the word of God, I was able to become a submissive wife. This was something that, as I just said, I had to be intentional about. Right. I had to go to God and ask him, Lord, give me the strength. And so he, my ex-husband, he didn't treat me like a partner or a wife. I was his property, and so it's kind of difficult to submit to somebody like that and to respect somebody like that do as I say, don't do as I do. And so it was a very tough situation, but I'm the type of woman, I married him, right? I got on my knees and prayed, so I had to submit in a lot of ways, even when I found it very uncomfortable, very tough, and it taught me grace, because as you were just sharing, sometimes you just have to bite your tongue.
Oh yeah, a lot of times.
And I had to bite my tongue. I had to bite my throat.
Yes.
I had to choke.
Yep.
On just, because
I want to say something. Yeah.
Oh my God, I wanted to. It was every week I wanted to cuss this man out, but I couldn't because cursing him out means that we're going to get into a bigger fight, and then it can get stuff get physical. And I'm, even though you're not married to somebody that's abusive, you have to be careful. You have to know when to cut it off, the argument.
And also know there are men.
There are men.
And I don't believe in a woman bulking up to a man as if you can beat him up. He's a man. Don't forget that.
Yeah. I did not buck up to him because I was indeed scared of him.
Right. No. Some women, they don't mind doing that. Yeah. But I don't.
These independent women, some of them will, honey. You couldn't. You could not pay me to buck up to a man.
No.
My ex-husband is a man.
Mm-hmm.
If I would have bucked up, I don't know if I would have been on the floor or not. Because I'm never going to try you.
Right.
I'm never going to go that far
Not
in your
that
face.
way.
And,
No.
no, I'm not.
I see women do that, and
it's so disrespectful.
It's very disrespectful. I see them do it in public.
Yeah, because when he knock your ass out,
yeah,
then you,
they say, oh, he hit me. Well,
what did you do?
Yeah.
We're not advocating beating. We're not advocating violence.
You buck up to him like you was ready to square up, like you was just one of his homeboys. So if that's what it is, that's what it is. So I mean,
what we gonna do here? What we gonna do?
It's space and opportunity. What you want to do? So I don't, and I think women do need to hear that, because I see a lot of women do a lot of things that is disrespectful, and this is in public. You know, you shouldn't be anywhere in public where you and your man face pointing, cussing them out.
Oh my God!
Can you understand, as far as everybody watching, how that really looks? I mean, it's very disrespectful.
It's so disrespectful.
And if he was to say one word to you out of line, you ready to fight, but
Right.
you literally all in his face, cussing him out, saying he a punk, he a bitch. I mean, you got to really think about how that looks and how that perception is.
Awful.
Yeah, and how you're going to come across as a woman.
Right.
Because a woman is not really supposed to be out acting like that anyway, being
Period.
loud and obnoxious. And
No, we're classy. We're classy. We're women.
Right.
We're classy because he
yourself.
wants to make sure that when he take you to the company,
right,
ball.
Right.
We'll just say ball.
You won't embarrass him.
Yeah.
That loud talking and in his face with this, that.
They want a woman. They don't want that. Whatever that is. Whatever that is.
What it is.
I don't know what that is.
Call it, but they don't want that.
They don't want that. A lot of
and
men.
every man I ever asked that question, they say no. That's not what I think about when I think about a wife or a vision.
Yeah. Now, we're not saying they won't sleep with that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's different.
They sleep with it.
But I understand what they'll propose to and make official.
Yeah, they're not gonna marry that.
They still will get on. Yeah.
Yeah, they, you know how y'all do.
Yeah.
We
We'll leave that alone.
Oh my God, I love you. I missed you so much.
I know. I talk. Oh wow. Y'all should have heard somebody talk back in the day.
Oh my goodness, what a great segment. And so why is there such a stigma when it comes to the word submission?
I think submission and I'm only speaking from my experience being an African American woman in marriage, they really relate the word to slave, and I'm not really sure why. And I didn't relate it to slave when I first got married, but I know that word was always a word that people cringed around. Women go, I'm not doing this, doing that. As time grows, of course you're nobody's slave, and I'm not saying that's what you need to sign up to be. You are a person, you do have feelings, you do have a heart, so they should be heard as well. But it's not a slave thing either. What I'm learning as I got older, there should be joy in serving your man.
That's right.
And why do you feel that that's a bad connotation? So I think we need to really think about, where did that even come from? Why do we got such a negative stigma about the word? Right. Serving your man and preparing a meal and being proud that I'm able to feed my family and I got a nice home cooked meal. That's something you should feel good about and shouldn't have a problem doing. Now I do believe in if both parties work, which has always been the case for me. We both cook, we both help with housework, so it's never been where it's just me or just him. However, being the woman, I can say I do more of it than he does. But I feel like just as a woman, we want our house to look a certain way. If company's coming over, you worried about this and that. But I am learning that there's nothing wrong with me preparing a meal for my man and being able to say that and finding joy in that. There's nothing wrong with me supporting my man in a way and, having his outfit ironed for work tomorrow if I want to do that. Why do we feel like that's such a bad thing?
I don't know.
And I think a lot of women do. And it's
do.
weird. Because now that I'm really talking about this out loud, I'm really thinking about it. And as a wife, I should be happy. You know what? I'm earning the clothes to make sure he looks nice and neat for the job that he goes to. In turn, helps put food on our table. In turn, keeps the roof over your head. So why would you feel, well, I'm not doing that. That's just beneath. And I don't know where that came from.
I would say, maybe the breakdown was, mummies, watching mummies not do this, not cater to their man. That could be one of the reasons, because my mom was a very strong, oh my God, I always call her boss. She was a boss. She was a boss. Like that lady was something. I never saw her cater to daddy. And so a lot of times in the house,
that example.
Yeah, I didn't have that example at all. I didn't watch her, fix my dad food or iron his clothes or just be really submissive to him.
Right.
And so as women, we grow up in these households, we see this stuff that's not happening, and then we have, once we get to
relationships.
Right. However you were raised and whatever you saw, sometimes it carried over into your adulthood life. Whatever on the relational side, whether friendship, being husband and wife, or associates. And so my mom, maybe her mom didn't teach her. I don't know.
Right.
There's a breakdown there. But this is the thing. Even though I didn't see that,
you still did it.
I still did it because I do what the Bible says. And if God says submit,
that's what
we know God is the head,
right?
Then the husband.
Right.
Now he didn't say submit to no food.
No, he didn't. And we're not telling you to do that.
We're not telling you to submit to no food now.
One that deserves it.
Yeah. And so somewhere down the line between this independent woman, this I buy the bacon, I fry the bacon, and all of this, and I take care of myself. I don't need a man. All of this stuff. There has been a breakdown, or because a lot of women, I've had these conversations, and I'm sure you have. They think that submission is being obedient.
Yeah. They have a very negative connotation to it. And the older I'm getting, I have learned to take pride that I can cook a meal that my man will eat when he gets in from work. I take pride in if he say, well, pick me out something to wear. You take pride in that, because that means, okay, he trusts your opinion.
Yeah.
He trusts your eye to pick him out something to wear. But we never approached it like that. I think we've approached it from, I'm not going to just do what he tell me to do. It's not always about him telling you what to do in a way of like trying to be your father or anything. Right. Maybe it's more so, I appreciate your advice on this topic. Right. I respect your eye for this type of thing. So that's why I'm asking you to do it. Maybe you're better at it.
Right.
That's why I'm asking. But we don't think about it that way. We always have looked at it in a negative connotation. And I think we need to change that.
We need to change it, because if your husband is, and you have to be honest. He's not telling you. In most cases, he's not telling you to do this. He's asking you. Yes. And so you love this man. You married this man. You're his wife. Right. If my husband say, hey, babe, I'm really wanting some sloppy joes tonight. Not the can. I want you to make the homemade. And I'm like, I don't feel like it. But guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to make the homemade sloppy joes for my man, because he asked me to. I love this man. I'm in love with him. Right. This is my boo. Right. And so you have to really look at what's the reason you do not want to submit to your husband.
Because you did marry the man.
You married him. This is your husband.
This is yours. So what's the problem?
Because it's always going to be somebody in the marriage that's better, somebody that's better with the money, somebody that's better.
Maybe better at organizing. You're better at that, so that's why I give that project to you. Right. Not necessarily because I'm just trying to give you something to do. Right. No, you're better at it. So why would I not come to the best at it in this area?
That's right.
And if he's better at money, okay, he's better at balancing a checkbook. So it's not that, oh no, I don't want you to do it. He's better at it, and you've seen throughout the relationship that he's proved to be better. Yeah. So let him do that. Now, he still should include you. You still should know what's going on, and vice versa. You still can include him. He would know what's going on. But it's just a matter of one of y'all is better at it than the other, and it shouldn't be no shame in that. Right.
And you have to understand that when you get married, you guys are one. It's not
me.
Yeah.
You over there, I'm over here.
Yeah, and I've heard women say, oh no, I have my own account. I would never. The money goes in one pot, honey. Whoever I married, future husband, if you're listening, the money's going in one pot.
Yes, I believe in it.
Yeah.
I know a lot of men.
Because we're one. I know a ton.
I know a lot of women that say everything is split down the middle, financially. Oh. And just to tell y'all, my mom sounds like she was a lot like your mom. I remember when I first started dating, And we talked about this very topic. I said, well, what do you think the man should pay for? And I said, should we go half? She said, that's a roommate.
Roommate.
So that's the type of mom I had.
Roommate.
So it tell you a lot about how I was raised. She's made it clear. That's a roommate. Why would you do that?
That's
you
a
can
roommate.
do that with one of your girlfriends.
Exactly, because we can get a 2-bedroom and go in the middle.
That's like some me and Katrice girl. She's like, why would you do that? He's a man. No, why would you?
He's a man. He needs to take care of his family.
I would figure you could still date whoever then.
Yeah, because if I'm not signing on to split bills. She's not gonna do that because I'm just gonna continue to pay all my bills as a single person.
So
I'm not. My ex-husband paid everything.
Yeah, I mean that's
took care of his wife.
Right.
That's what.
Right.
My mama said
that's what my mama said too.
Unless we missing something, because I've heard the memo change. They do these splits now.
A lot of women do splits.
Now we're not saying it's nothing wrong with that for you.
For you,
it doesn't work for
me.
us. Because we're not. You're not my roommate. You're my husband.
Yep.
So I am not sitting here saying that you say, "Hey, baby, I need you to pay the water bill."
Yes. And this is something you need to talk about before you go down the aisle and say, "I do."
You better.
I feel like a lot of conversations are not had before you say, "I do" either, and that creates a lot of problems later. You better talk about money and how you see the money should go. Who should pay for what? If nobody has children or if children are involved, talk about that. How do you plan on raising children? Are you going to be a type of person that discipline children, or are you kind of more of a free spirit? You better have those conversations because it's going to come back up. It's going to come back up.
I swear to God, it's coming back up. This is like real talk from somebody that was married for 14 years and a person that's currently married. Like this is.
Please talk about it.
This is real because I know married women that's paying half of the mortgage.
I know quite a few actually.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I just think I'll be single.
I
just pay the whole rent. Like, no, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, I just don't get it. But to each his own. Like
each his own. That's just not our life. And so the world has somehow turned this this word submission into a bad word. When people hear, wives submit to your own husband, they raise up their hands with this belief that submission to a man is demeaning. That is not true. We have to talk about what submission is not in marriage. It is not servanthood, inferior, docile, degrading, or a sign of weakness. In fact, submission is a sign of strength. It requires a great degree of personal strength and character.
It does.
And a lot of act right. That was for me. I had to have a lot of that. She had to have a lot of act right. And so, submitting to my ex-husband, in fact, I looked at it like, this is what God wants me to do, so I'm submitting to him. To entrust that God has sent me a man that I can follow. And so you have to have the right husband.
Yes.
And when you're married to the right person, you can easily submit.
And I think that's important. I think that's very important what Katrice just said. If you're finding it hard to do, then I think it's another problem. Yeah. Which means, am I in the right situation?
Exactly.
Because I do find if you're with the right person, I don't think it would be hard for you to do.
No, it's not.
If you're with the right person for you.
Exactly.
But if you're finding yourself always fighting against it, then something else is going on deeper that you probably want to look at.
Absolutely.
Because I don't think if you really truly love that man, in love with that man, hey, we in this together, it shouldn't be a problem. It wouldn't be.
No, it's not.
So
because it's gonna come very naturally.
Right.
And and that's gonna segue into what I'm gonna ask you now. Does submission comes naturally for you?
No, I can honestly answer that. No. I have to make strides every day on that. And I think this goes back to what Katrice was saying, how you watch your mom. You didn't watch your mom submit. I didn't watch my mom. She wasn't the type that, here are your house shoes, baby. Here's your paper. Here's your morning coffee. She didn't do that. But I did watch her always make sure a meal was on the table for most days of the week. And she worked full-time job just like he did. And I did watch, I've never saw her degrade him in public, in front of me or my sister or anything. I think she gave me a good picture on, letting a man be a man. And, she did have talks with me once I started dating about certain things and certain situations. And she was like, it's not good to do that. It's not good to degrade a man in front of company or public or make them feel less than. And I do feel like we have a lot of that going on now. And I think the older generations, they didn't do that. And it's interesting because if you look down their line, your grandmother's great grandmother, guess what? They stayed married a lot longer. They didn't get divorced. But if you fast forward to now, everybody breaking up.
Yeah.
So obviously they do something, and they knew something correct that we didn't, because they was able to stay married and honor their commitment. And if you look back in those generations, a lot of them they weren't working back then. It was just the man working. So they were the true housewives, the true at home, make sure the kids good, make sure food is cooked, house is clean, laundry, whatever concerning the house, they're taken care of. So I find that interesting. Fast forward to now, we got more women in the workforce, but the divorce rate risen. And if you go back, rewind, when women wasn't in the workforce, divorce rate was down. I just think that's something we should look at.
That is so true. Because my mom was a homemaker. She had so many kids and so many of us, and so my mom stayed at home and raised us, and my dad went to work. And I remember that, always having a mom that was at home and preparing meals and
Kids
stuff.
Kids don't have that now.
Yeah, they don't have it because
it's different.
It's the whole dynamic of marriage and what it looks like, and like as you just said, the true. Housewives. Those were original housewives, not this Atlanta stuff.
Yeah, that's not even a real housewife. Not in my opinion.
They're not even that.
No. And don't get me wrong, I was a fan of the show and all that when it first started, but they not housewives. True housewives was not going to have champagne at 11 o'clock in the day and then going to the mall. That's not true. Housewives really were, back in those days, maintain the house.
That's right.
That was your number one job.
Yep, that's what my mom did. She all of the kids and washing clothes, cleaning, and cooking.
Make sure everybody good.
Yeah.
The kids good and the husband good. The kids got what they need and the husband got what he need.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just how it was.
People are not, this is my opinion, a lot of people don't take marriage serious.
No.
And from people that's been married and is married, it's a very serious commitment. The next person I marry, we're going to be married forever. It's no divorce, honey.
Yep.
If you're not signing on for that, you need to
keep moving.
Keep it pushing, because I'm not going through that.
No.
Divorce is very taxing.
And it is.
It's exhausting, and you lose a family member.
Yeah.
That's true. I lost my family member.
Right.
And so,
that's a good point.
Two families are splitting.
Right.
Not just you and your ex-husband.
Right.
It's the family.
Involved too. I mean, now we got to do this co-parenting thing.
It's different.
And everybody knows sometimes that works in the best scenario. Sometimes it don't work.
Right.
And it's a struggle. So
it's a struggle because we have a lot of kids that struggle with the divorce.
The torn back and forth.
And so for me, being an independent woman, did this come natural? Nope, it did not. And I was, like I said, I was 28 when I got married. Didn't know her to submission. Didn't really see it growing up. I had to work on it, and I had to work on it through the Lord. And we went to church, active in the church. That helps a lot. That helped us.
Church really does help.
And so when you're accustomed to doing everything on your own, then you have this man that's supposed to be, the man. It's hard to give up that control because we were just talking about control at the beginning. If a man is a spouse, he's following God, then you're fine. Because if God is leading you, then you're going to lead us correctly.
Right.
The challenge becomes when you marry a man that does not know how to lead.
Yeah.
Perhaps he was raised by a single mom.
Right.
So he never saw an example of a man leading.
Right.
Or, a woman being raised by a strong single mom. It's very difficult for her to be submissive in most cases. We all want to maintain control, but if you do it God's way, then you'll have a great union.
Yep.
It's just something about giving up control.
It's hard for me. That's probably the biggest challenge for me in marriage. And I can honestly admit it. We did marriage counseling. In the past, I told him to his face, he knows, and I was like, I just don't want to. Yeah. That's just true. And again, that's when he said, you're going to have to learn. Do you want to be right or happy? And he said, I'm telling you, that will probably be your biggest lesson of your life.
My Lord. Right or happy.
You're going to have to learn, do you want to be right or happy? And I just always keep that in the back of my mind. When I want to be the other way, I hear him. I hear his voice telling me that. So that's what always comes my spirit.
So good.
And you women, I'm telling you, keep telling yourself that. Do you want to be right or happy? In other words, too, some things we have to learn, and this is with the submission topic. Everything ain't that deep. why do you have to make everything deep? Okay, if you know you married a man, and this is why y'all need to talk before you say I do. He needs to make it clear what his intentions are, what he expects from his wife. You need to make it clear what your intentions are, what you expect from your husband. You can look at him and say, hey, I expect you pay all these bills. I'm not finna help. That ain't what I want to do.
Right.
He can agree or disagree, and he can say, that's fine, but this is what I expect from you. I want a meal cooked 5 days a week.
Right.
I want my house cleaned 90% of the time. So y'all need to sit down and be honest. And that way both party knows exactly what this is. I learned about we did a marriage contract, learned that from counseling as well too. So write these things down before you say I do, and have an agreement. And anytime this issue comes up, go back to the contract and say, this is what we discussed. And this is spiritual contract. We're not talking about anything to do with money. This is just what the intentions of the marriage are and what you feel you want from your spouse. You write your list, he writes his. Y'all agree, and then move forward. But remember, this is what we said we wanted this to be like.
Wow.
And that really helped me a lot.
That's powerful.
Mm-hmm.
That's powerful, because putting things in writing, you know, it's powerful, because, you know, if we agree to this, we are to be held accountable for this.
Right.
You know, and so I am expecting my husband that agreed to do this, to honor his
and
word.
You can always refer back to it.
Yeah. Oh my God.
And I have many times.
Girl, y'all had a great marriage counselor.
He's good. That pastor, I swear, I miss that man a lot.
Oh my goodness.
Again, y'all, Pastor Caraway, Tyler, Texas.
I did not have a great one. Oh my goodness.
He was he gave a lot of good pointers, stuff that I was able to take throughout my life. I mean, he really did.
My pastor, my ex-pastor that counseled us, him and my ex-husband were very close. So yeah, I was already yeah.
See, he was fair. He was fair to me. And sometimes another good point, like he separated us and we discussed our fears. He didn't want us to talk about it in front of each other. And I found out, and again, that's why I say this is important. Do this before you say I do. Our fears were totally different. So he separated us and he asked the question, what do you fear? What is your biggest fear concerning this next step you're about to make? And what I thought my husband was going to say, he didn't say at all.
Right.
I thought he was going to say something, I don't know, just something about us not seeing eye to eye, being on the same page, or that would be something that could possibly tear our marriage up. And his biggest fear was not being able to provide. And I would have never guessed that in a million years about him. Because he's not a type of person that talk about his money or anything like that. He's not a type of person. He goes to work, does what he has to do. So I never even thought that bothered him. And it did. So that was his fear.
Wow.
So, and with the marriage counseling, the pastor, and then what he did was brought us back in the same room and discussed what the other said.
Wow.
And we both were surprised about what our true fear was. And my fear was being alone. And he would have never thought that, because I'm very much an independent. That's the energy I've always put out. So he was like, I never thought you was scared of being alone, because you don't put out that energy. And I'm saying, I would have never thought you was worried about providing, because you ain't never had a problem with providing. So that kind of thing.
Wow.
You'd be surprised what people are really thinking about. You may not know. So again, pre-counseling marriage,
please,
it really helps.
Go to counseling.
It opens some eyes. It does.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
You have to. You have to go to pre-marriage counseling. You guys know, honey, therapy is my life.
Yes.
Retail and a real therapist. If you don't have one, I suggest you get one, because most of us need one.
Yes, we do.
I'm telling you.
You'd be surprised.
You'd be surprised what
You
people
really
are
will
dealing
open
with.
your eyes.
And these childhood traumas, a lot of these issues that come out in the adulthood is childhood traumas that have not been addressed.
Never been addressed.
And so when you get into these relationships, you get into these marriages,
that stuff.
that
stuff.
It just comes to a head. Deal with this stuff. If you feel like your mom wasn't a good mom, your dad wasn't a good dad, go talk to your therapist about it. Get to the bottom of it.
Right.
If it's affecting your relationship, these mommy issues, these daddy issues. Because I'm like Tyler Perry. Our parents did the best they could.
Yeah.
It's up to you what you're going to do with the rest of your life.
And I don't believe in that, like you said.
Me either.
your mom and dad, okay, maybe they wasn't the best, but like you just said, like Tyler Perry said, they did the best with what they knew at that time.
At that time.
What you got to realize, every 10 years is another generation of things going on. So what they experienced in 1950, you're not experiencing in 2021.
Not at all.
It's totally different. So how can you continue to keep blaming somebody? They grew up in a whole other time than you. Right. The issues and things going on now, there was no such thing as a social media. There wasn't no such thing as all this crazy stuff we're dealing with today. So how could they? I can't prepare you for something that wasn't even going on at the time.
Right. Absolutely.
Now you're living it. So the best you can do is do what works to make you better.
Right.
But I don't believe in that. I know it's things I learned from my mom and my dad, and I take the good, and I just, the bad I don't worry about, but I know they were people. Nobody's perfect. So they're not going to do everything right. No. But you need to look at yourself, and it's time to say, what am I doing to make myself better? Right. I can't continue to blame mom and dad over some stuff 30, 40 years ago. Mm-hmm. How's it going to help my life now?
Exactly.
How's it going to enrich me now?
Exactly.
So,
Wow. Oh my God, this has been so awesome.
I know, I enjoyed this topic. God. We can go on and on.
I know, guys, and we can, but I definitely, for time purposes, we're going to end there. And so, the hope is that we've said something that, can help your life or enrich your life or make it better, or a takeaway that you can get from this segment, because at the end of the day, when you marry somebody and you're in love with this person, if this is your person, it's easy to submit to this man. And so
that's key.
And remember this: if you submit to your husband, there are some things that's gonna happen, some great benefits. Because if you take care of your man, honey,
he'll take care of you.
That's that what.
And I'm gonna tell you, learning too, since we're closing, I've learned the more I have been submissive in the relationship, in the marriage, and it's all, I've seen a difference for the better. Yes. You'd be surprised.
I'm telling you.
I've seen things work smoother. I get more gifts just because gifts. You'd be surprised.
I love gifts.
Just flowers for no reason, a little gift card to go get your nails done. I mean, he knows I love stuff like that. Oh my God. So you'd be surprised. So if you're giving, you'll see that they're going to give more too.
Exactly.
You'd be surprised. It does work out.
It does. And I am a woman. I'm going to submit to my husband. Mm-hmm. I'm going to take care of my husband. I'm going to feed him. Yes. Honey, I'm going to feed you.
Spiritually too.
Spiritually too. Oh, Jesus.
Spiritually.
I'm going to do what God asked me to do as a wife. Mm-hmm. I am beyond, I was 28 when I got married. Mm-hmm. I'm 45. Mm-hmm. So I don't have to learn how to be submissive. I know how to be submissive. Yes. And I'm so grateful for that first marriage because it taught me so much. And so I swear, Cole, I could go on and on. I am going to bring you on again for another segment. She's going to come back, guys. And guys, definitely thank you for watching. Thank you for everything. Thank you, Jess.
Remember to subscribe.
Please.
We're going to get those views up.
Yeah, we got to remember, they said I need 1,000 to go live.
Oh, that's what you need on YouTube.
On YouTube. I'm going to be moving around to Apple where you got. I'm going with the fancy people at.
Yes.
And, once again, as I was saying, the name of her podcast is going to be in the bio. And guys, we support each other.
Yes.
As Black women, we support each other. This is my friend. Mm-hmm. Yes, we connected with fashion, but we're women and we got to know each other on a personal level. And so supporting each other, that's just important as women. Mm-hmm. And maturity and being a grown-ass woman.
Yes.
You better know it.
Grown.
Good and grown.
Yes.
Good. My God. It. Oh my Lord. Look out.
I love this.
I love it.
This topic was good.
It was good. It was a great segment. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Oh my God, guys. Thank you guys. And have an awesome weekend. And definitely I'll be back next week with another guest. And thank you for listening to Treasures by Trees. And like I said, don't forget to subscribe because I need about 995.
We're going to get there.
We got to get there.
That's okay. We're going to be there.
Guys, you have a great weekend. And like I said, I hope something was said to enrich your life. And so until next week, Treasures by Trees. Bye, guys.